The smoke burned Captain Lee Taman's lungs as he crept through the destroyed hallways of the alien research facility. His team moved behind him like shadows, their weapons ready and their eyes scanning every corner. The third contact war had been raging for 3 years now, and Taman had seen enough death to last several lifetimes. "Thermal readings show possible survivors in the lower levels," whispered Private Choi Minho through the radio. He was the youngest member of their team, barely 22 years old, but already proven in battle. Tadashman nodded and signaled his team to follow him deeper into the facility. The Vrex had built this place on the moon of Kepler-44 to be far from Earth's protection. Intelligence reports said they were conducting experiments here, though nobody knew exactly what kind. The walls around them were made of some strange alien metal that seemed to shift colors in the flickering. Emergency lights. Pieces of debris blocked their path, and the air tasted of chemicals and burned electronics. Taman's suit filtered most of the toxins, but he could still feel the sting in his throat. "Sir, we should be careful," said Sergeant Park Jin-soo, the team's medic. "The orbital bombardment might have damaged the reactor. This whole place could blow at any moment." Taman knew the risks, but they had their orders. If there were survivors, they needed to find them. If there were secrets, they needed to recover them. The war against the Vrex was not going well for humanity, and they needed every advantage they could get. They reached a heavy door marked with alien symbols. Taman couldn't read the writing, but the red lights blinking around the frame suggested something important was behind it. He placed a small explosive charge on the lock and stepped back. The door exploded inward with a loud bang. Smoke poured out, and emergency alarms began screaming throughout the facility. Taman cursed under his breath and moved through the doorway. His rifle raised and ready. The room beyond was different from the rest of the facility. It looked more like a prison than a laboratory. Rows of glass cells lined the walls, each one big enough to hold a person. Most of them were empty and broken, their glass shattered on the floor, but one cell at the far end of the room was still intact, and inside it, something was moving. Taman approached slowly, his finger on the trigger. The smoke was thicker here, and the air tasted worse. His suit's sensors were going crazy, detecting chemicals he had never seen before. Inside the cell was a girl who looked completely human. She appeared to be about 16 years old, with long black hair and pale skin. She was wearing what looked like a simple white dress, though it was torn and dirty. Her eyes were closed, and she wasn't moving much. What struck Taman most was how normal she looked. After 3 years of fighting the Vrex, he was used to seeing aliens that looked like nightmares. They were tall and thin, with gray skin and too many arms. Their faces had no features that humans would recognize. But this girl could have been his younger sister, except for her eyes. When she opened them and looked at him, Taman saw that. They were bright, violet, like nothing he had ever seen on a human face. The girl tried to stand up, but she was too weak. She said something in a language that sounded like music mixed with static. Taman didn't understand the words, but the tone was clear. She was asking for help. "Sir, we need to leave," Minho said from behind him. "The reactor readings are getting worse. We have maybe 10 minutes before this place goes up." Taman looked at the girl again. She was pressing her hands against the glass, her violet eyes pleading with him. Whatever she was, wherever she came from, she didn't deserve to die. In this place, he found the control panel for the cell and started working on it. The alien technology was complex, but he had studied enough captured Vrex equipment to understand the basics. After a few minutes of careful work, the cell door slid open with a soft hiss. The girl tried to step out, but her legs gave out immediately. Taman caught her before she could fall, surprised by how light she felt. She couldn't weigh more than 40 kilograms, but there was something strange about her. Her skin felt warm, but not in a human way. It was like touching smooth metal that had been sitting in sunlight. "Can you understand me?" he asked in Korean, then repeated the question in English. She tilted her head and looked at him with those impossible violet eyes. Then she nodded slowly and said something in her musical language. It sounded like a question. "I'm going to get you out of here," Taman said, switching to simple English words and speaking slowly. "You're safe now. The girl seemed to understand his intent, even if she didn't know the words. She wrapped her arms around his neck and let him carry her. As they moved through the facility, Tamon noticed more strange things about her. She didn't seem bothered by the toxic smoke at all. Her breathing was steady and calm, while his team was coughing and struggling even with their protective gear. "Sir, the reactor is going critical," Jinsu reported. "We have less than 5 minutes." Tamon picked up the pace, carrying the girl through the twisted corridors toward the exit. His team followed close behind, their weapons ready for any remaining Vrex soldiers. But the facility seemed completely abandoned, except for the girl they had found, as they reached the main entrance. Tamon felt the girl's grip tighten around his neck. She was looking back at the facility with an expression he couldn't read. There was sadness in her violet eyes, but also something that might have been relief. They made it to their transport ship. Just as the facility's reactor reached critical mass, Tamon strapped the girl into a seat and covered her with a blanket. While his team prepared for immediate departure, she seemed fascinated by everything around her. Touching the ship's controls and staring at the human faces of his team members, the explosion behind them lit up the entire moon's surface. The research facility vanished in a ball of white fire, taking all its secrets with it, all except one. As their ship accelerated toward the space station, where they would transfer to a larger vessel, Tamon looked at the girl he had rescued. She was sleeping now, her violet eyes closed and her breathing soft and steady. In the ship's clean light, she looked even more human than before, but Tamon had been a soldier long enough to know that appearances could be deceiving. The Vrex didn't keep human prisoners, and they certainly didn't keep them in special cells. With complex life support systems, this girl was something else, something important enough for the aliens to risk building a research facility on a contested moon. Whatever she was his responsibility now. He had pulled her from the fire, and that made her his to protect. It was a decision that would change both their lives in ways he couldn't imagine. The girl stirred in her sleep and murmured something in her strange language. For just a moment, her skin seemed to shimmer with an inner light. Then she settled, back into peaceful sleep, and Tamon convinced himself he had imagined it. But deep down, he knew that nothing about this rescue had been ordinary, and he suspected that the real adventure was just beginning. 6 months had passed since Captain Lee Tamon pulled the strange girl from the burning alien facility. Now she lived in a small town on Earth. Far from the war zones and military bases, Dr. Park So-young had become her guardian, helping her learn to be human. The girl had chosen the name Hannah after learning about flowers in her first English lesson. She said she liked how they were beautiful but simple, just like she wanted to be. Dr. Park thought it was a perfect choice for someone trying to start a new life. Hannah was attending the local high school under carefully created documents that said she was a refugee from the outer colonies. Her official story was that her family had died in a Vrex attack, leaving her with memory problems from the trauma. It explained why she sometimes seemed confused about basic human things. Every morning, Hannah walked to school like any other teenager. She carried her books in a backpack, ate lunch in the cafeteria, and sat through classes on math, history, and literature. To anyone watching, she was just another quiet student trying to fit in. But Hannah was not like other students. Hiding her true nature was becoming harder every day. In biology class, she had to pretend not to know things that seemed obvious. To her, when the teacher talked about DNA and genetics, Hannah could see the molecular structures in her mind, understanding them in ways that would have amazed the greatest scientists on Earth. But she stayed quiet and took notes like everyone else. During physical education, she had to be careful not to run too fast or jump too high. Her body was capable of incredible things, but she forced herself to be average. Sometimes she would stumble on purpose or pretend to be tired just to seem more human. The hardest part was controlling her eyes. When she felt strong emotions, they would glow with that strange violet light. She had learned to look away or close her eyes when she felt it happening. But it was getting more difficult as time passed. Dr. Park visited her every week, checking on her progress and helping her with problems, who specialized in helping trauma victims. She had been chosen to care for Hannah because she was good at keeping secrets and because she genuinely cared about helping people heal. How are you feeling about the math test tomorrow? Dr. Park asked during one of their sessions. I will do well, Hannah replied, but not too well. I must remember to make some mistakes so I seem normal. Dr. Park nodded sadly. She hated that Hannah had to hide her intelligence, but they both knew it was necessary. If people discovered how smart she really was, they would start asking questions that couldn't be answered. Have you been having the dreams again? Dr. Park asked. Hannah looked down at her hands. Yes, they are getting stronger. Sometimes I see things that I think are memories, but they are terrible. I see myself doing things that I do not want to remember. The nightmares were getting worse, and Dr. Park was worried. Hannah would wake up screaming in languages that didn't exist in any human database. Sometimes she would sleepwalk, and Dr. Park would find her standing in the garden, staring at the stars with her eyes glowing bright violet. But it wasn't just the dreams that concerned Dr. Park. She had noticed other changes in Hannah. The girl never got sick, not even a simple cold. Small cuts and bruises healed within hours. Once Dr. Park had seen Hannah accidentally touch a hot stove, but when she pulled her hand away, there was no burn mark at all. Captain Taman visited as often as his duties allowed. He'd been reassigned to Earth's Alien Integration Division, a new military unit that dealt with refugees and captured aliens. Officially, he was there to check on Hannah's progress. Unofficially, he had become very protective of the girl he had rescued. Hannah always looked forward to his visits. He would tell her stories about different places on Earth, teach her about human customs, and answer her endless questions about everything from music to food to history. She was fascinated by human culture and wanted to understand every part of it. Why do humans give flowers to people they care about? She asked during one of his visits. Tae-Min smiled. Because flowers are beautiful, but they don't last forever. They remind us that beautiful things are precious because they are temporary. Hannah thought about this for a long time. Is that why you saved me? Because I was temporary? Taemin said softly. I saved you because it was the right thing to do, because everyone deserves a chance to choose their own life. These conversations meant everything to Hannah. She was learning about concepts that had never been part of her original programming. Ideas like kindness, friendship, and love were completely new to her. But she found herself drawn to them like a moth to flame. But her peaceful life was shattered on a Tuesday afternoon in spring. Hannah was walking home from school, and 3 older students blocked her path. They were known bullies who picked on anyone they thought was different or weak. Hannah had managed to avoid them for months, but today they had been waiting for her. Look what we have here, said the leader, a boy named Kim Ja-wook, the weird, quiet girl who thinks she's too good to talk to anyone. Hannah tried to walk around them, but they moved to block her again. She could feel her heart rate increasing, and she knew her eyes were starting to glow. She looked down at the ground and tried to stay calm. I do not want any trouble, she said quietly. Too bad, Jae-wook said, because trouble found you. He pushed her hard, and Hannah stumbled backward. The other 2 boys laughed and moved closer. One of them had a small knife, nothing serious, but he was waving it around to scare her. Give us your money, freak, he said, and maybe we won't hurt you. Hannah felt something building inside her, like pressure in her chest that wanted to explode outward. She had felt this before in her dreams, but never while awake. She tried to control it, but the boys kept pushing her, kept threatening her. Please, she whispered. You do not understand. You need to leave me alone. But they didn't listen. Jae-wook grabbed her backpack and threw it into the mud. The boy with the knife stepped closer, and Hannah felt the pressure inside her reach. Breaking point, without thinking, without even meaning to, she pushed, but she didn't push with her hands. She pushed with her mind. Jae-wook flew backward through the air like he had been hit by a truck. He crashed into a fence 30 meters away and lay there, unconscious but breathing. The boy with the knife froze in shock, and the blade stopped. Moving in midair, held there by invisible force, the 3rd boy ran away screaming. Hannah stared at what she had done, her violet eyes blazing with light. The knife fell to the ground with a soft clink. She had lost control for just a moment. But that moment had changed everything. She picked up her backpack and walked home, leaving the 2 boys behind. She knew that her quiet life was over. She knew that questions would be asked, and that some of those questions might lead to answers she wasn't ready to give. That night, she called Dr. Park and told her what had happened. And for the first time since her rescue, Hannah began to remember exactly what she had been created to do. She was not just a refugee from an alien war. She was a weapon designed to destroy worlds. And now the people who had made her were starting to call her home. 1 year had passed since the incident with the bullies. School had covered up what happened, saying that Jae-wook had been hurt in a fight with another student. Only a few people knew the truth about what Hannah could do, and they all agreed. To keep it secret, Hannah had learned to control her abilities better. She practiced every day in the basement of Dr. Park's house, moving small objects with her mind and learning to keep her eyes from glowing when she felt strong emotions. It was hard work, but she was getting better at being human. Her life had settled into a peaceful routine. She woke up every morning, ate breakfast with Dr. Park, and walked to school with her friend Lee Mayung. Mayung was a cheerful girl who loved to talk about movies and music. She had no idea that her quiet friend was actually an alien weapon. In disguise, at school, Hannah was doing well in all her subjects, though she was careful not to be the best student in any class. She had joined the art club because she loved drawing flowers and landscapes. Her teacher said she had a natural talent for capturing beauty in simple things. The best part of her life was her friendship with Park Jin-woo, a boy in her grade who sat next to her in literature class. He was kind and funny, and he made her laugh in ways she had never experienced before. They would spend hours talking about books and dreams for the future. Jin-woo had asked her to be his girlfriend 3 months ago. She had said yes. It was her first experience with romantic love, and she found it both wonderful and terrifying. When he held her hand or smiled at her, she felt emotions that were completely new to her. She had to be extra careful to keep her eyes from glowing. When they were together, "What do you want to do after we graduate?" Ginwoo asked her one afternoon as they walked home from school. Hannah thought about it. "I want to be a teacher. I want to help children learn about the world and find their own paths in life." "That sounds perfect for you," Ginwoo said. "You're so patient and kind. You would be a great teacher." Hannah smiled, but inside she felt sad. She knew that her dreams of a normal future were probably impossible. She was not really human, and someday that truth would catch up with her. Captain Taemin visited every few weeks. Their relationship had grown deeper over time. He was no longer just the soldier who had rescued her. He had become like an older brother, someone she could talk to about anything. He brought her books about human history and culture, and he listened to her questions about life and love. During one of his visits, Hannah asked him about his own life. "Do you ever think about getting married and having a family?" Taemin was quiet for a moment. "I used to think about it, but this war has taken up so much of my life, and now I feel responsible for taking care of you. You're like family to me, Hannah." Hannah felt warmth spread through her chest. She had never had a family before, but she thought this must be what it felt like. "Thank you for saving me, not just from the fire, but from being alone." "You don't need to thank me," Taemin said. "You've brought meaning to my life too. Watching you grow and learn has reminded me why we fight this war. We fight to protect people like you, people who deserve a chance to choose their own destiny." But Hannah carried a terrible secret that she couldn't share with anyone. She had been remembering more about her past, about what she had been created to do. The memories came in pieces, like a puzzle that was slowly being put together. She remembered being in a laboratory, surrounded by creatures that looked like nightmares. The Orcs had made her from the genetic material of many different species, including humans. They had given her abilities that defied the laws of physics as humans, understood them. But the worst part was remembering her original purpose. She had not been created to be a spy or a simple weapon. She had been designed to be a planet killer, something that could destroy entire worlds from within. Her psychic powers, when fully unleashed, could tear apart the fabric of reality itself. The Vrex had planned to send her to Earth years ago, but something had gone wrong during her final programming. Instead of becoming their perfect weapon, she had developed something they had never intended her to have. She had developed a conscience. She had rebelled against her creators and tried to escape. The fire at the research facility had not been an accident. She had caused it during her desperate attempt to break free from their control. Now, she lived her peaceful life on Earth. She could feel something changing. Her nightmares were getting more intense, and sometimes she would wake up to find that she had unconsciously reached out with her mind to touch distant stars. She was getting stronger, but she was also getting less human. Dr. Park had noticed the changes too. During their weekly sessions, she asked more questions about the dreams and about how Hannah was feeling. The dreams are different now, Hannah explained. Before, they were just confusing images. Now they feel like memories, like someone is calling to me from far away. Who is calling to you? Dr. Park asked. Hannah closed her eyes and tried to focus. On the feeling, the ones who made me. They are looking for me and they are getting closer. Dr. Park felt a chill run down her spine. She had always known that Hannah's past might catch up with them someday, but she had hoped they would have more time. That night, strange signals began appearing on deep space monitoring stations around the solar system. The signals were unlike anything human technology had ever detected. They seemed to be scanning, searching for something specific. Military analysts couldn't decode the signals, but they made everyone nervous. The war with the Vrex had been quiet for months, with both sides seeming to prepare for something bigger, Captain. Taemin was called to an emergency meeting at headquarters. When he arrived, he found Colonel Kim Dong-hyun studying data from the monitoring stations. We're picking up unusual activity in the outer system, the colonel said. Long-range sensors. Show ships moving in patterns we've never seen before. They're not attacking anything, but they're definitely looking for something. Taemin studied the data and felt his stomach drop. Sir, I think they might be looking for the girl I rescued, the one we've been protecting. That's what we're afraid. Oh, Colonel Kim replied. If they find her, what do you think they'll do? Taemin thought about Hannah's quiet life, her dreams of becoming a teacher, her innocent relationship with Ginwoo. They'll take her back. She'll lose everything she's built here. Or worse, the colonel said grimly. If she's as important as we think she is, they might be willing to destroy Earth to get her back. Meanwhile, Hannah was having the worst nightmare of her life. She saw herself standing in space, her eyes blazing with violet fire, watching as planets cracked apart under the force of her power. She saw the faces of her creators, telling her that she belonged to them, that she had been made to serve their will. But in the dream, she also saw Taemin's face, and Dr. Park's, and Jinwoo's. She saw the art classroom where she had learned to draw, and the garden where she had learned the names of flowers. She saw all the small, beautiful things that had made her human. She woke up screaming, her eyes glowing so brightly that they lit up the entire room. And for the first time since her rescue, she felt the full weight of what she truly was. She was a weapon designed to destroy worlds, and her creators were coming to take her home. The Vrex ships appeared in Earth's outer solar system on a quiet Tuesday morning. There were only 5 of them, but each vessel was larger than anything humanity had ever built. They moved with a grace that seemed impossible for machines, sliding through space like living creatures. Earth's defense satellites detected them first. Within minutes, every military base on the planet was on high alert. Admiral Chen Wei, commander of Earth's space forces, stared at the readings in disbelief. Did they get past our early warning systems? He asked his staff. Unknown, sir, replied his tactical officer. They just appeared. Our sensors show no sign of faster-than-light travel or dimensional rifts. It's like they were always there and we just noticed them. The answer came an hour. Later, when the lead Vrex ship sent a message to Earth, the transmission bypassed all of humanity's communication networks and appeared directly on every screen on the planet. The voice that spoke was cold and mechanical, but the words were clear. People of Earth, we are the Vrex Collective. We have come to reclaim our property. Return Weapon Unit 7 to us, and your world will be spared. The message repeated in every human language, then stopped. The ships took positions around Earth's orbital defenses and waited. In her small town, Hannah was sitting in literature class when every screen in the school showed the Vrex message. She felt her blood turn to ice as she heard the words Weapon Unit 7. That had been her designation before she chose the name Hannah. Her classmates were confused and frightened. Jinwoo reached over and took her hand. "Don't worry," he whispered. "The military will protect us." But Hannah knew better. She could feel her creators calling to her across space, their minds touching hers like cold fingers. They had found her at last, and they wanted her back. Dr. Park arrived at the school within an hour, her face pale with worry. She took Hannah home immediately, driving through streets filled with panicked people and military vehicles. "They're talking about you, aren't they?" Dr. Park asked as they sat in her kitchen. Hannah nodded. "Weapon Unit 7. That was my name before I became human. It made me to destroy worlds, and now they want me back." Dr. Park felt sick. She had known this day might come, but she had hoped they would have more time to prepare. "What will happen if you go back to them?" "I will stop being me," Hannah said quietly. "They will erase everything I have learned about being human. I will become their weapon again, and I will do terrible things."
Captain Taman arrived that evening
with a team of soldiers. His face was grim as he explained the situation. "The government is considering giving you to them. They're scared that the Vrex will destroy Earth if we refuse." "Maybe that would be best," Hannah said. "I do not want anyone to die because of me." "No," Taman said firmly. "You're not property. You're a person with the right to choose your own life. We'll find another way." But the Vrex were not willing to wait long for an answer. The next morning, they demonstrated their power by attacking one of Earth's military space stations. The station's shields, which had been designed to stop anything humanity could build, collapsed within seconds. The Vrex weapons cut through the station's armor like it was made of paper. Hundreds of soldiers died in that attack. The message was clear. Earth's defenses were useless against Vrex technology. That afternoon, Captain Taman led a desperate mission to capture one of the smaller VX ships. His plan was to take prisoners who could give them information about VX weaknesses. It was a long shot, but they had to try something. Hannah watched the mission launch from Dr. Park's house, her heart filled with dread. She could sense Taman's ship as it approached the Vrex vessel. She could feel the alien minds waiting for him. The mission went wrong from the start. The Vrex had been expecting the attack. Taman's ship was captured by some kind of energy beam that pulled it into the alien vessel's docking bay. The rescue team was taken prisoner without firing a single shot. The Vrex commander, Kacher called Velthak, contacted Earth again. This time the message was personal. "We have your soldiers," the cold voice said. "If Weapon Unit 7 does not surrender within 24 hours, we will demonstrate what happens to those who interfere with our property." Hannah felt Taman's pain as the Vrex began torturing him for information about her location. Devices that attacked his mind directly, making him experience his worst fears over and over again. She could sense his agony across the vast distance of space, and it was driving her mad. "I have to go to them," she told Dr. Park. "I cannot let them hurt him because of me. If you go back, you'll lose everything you've become," Dr. Park said. Hannah closed her eyes and tried to block out the sound of Taman's screams in her mind. "He saved me from being a weapon. But if I stay free, he will die. What kind of choice is that?" That night, as she lay in bed listening to the chaos outside, Hannah made a decision. She would not let the people she loved suffer for her freedom. She would return to her creators and accept whatever they did to her. But as she prepared to leave, something unexpected happened. Jinwoo appeared at her window, having climbed up the old oak tree in Dr. Park's yard. "I know you're planning to leave," he said as he climbed into her room. "Myung told me she saw you packing." Hannah stared at him in shock. "You should not be here. It is dangerous." "I don't care about dangerous," Jinwoo said. "I care about you. And I'm not going to let you sacrifice yourself for those monsters." "You do not understand," Hannah said desperately. "I am not human. I am a weapon created to destroy planets. If I stay here, everyone will die." Jinwoo looked into her violet eyes and saw the truth there. Saw the power and the pain and the terrible knowledge of what she had been made to do. But he also saw the girl who had learned to love flowers and who cried during sad movies. "I don't care what you were made to be," he said. "I care about who you choose to be. And the Hannah I know would never hurt innocent people." His words hit her like a physical blow. She realized that Jinwoo was right. She had been thinking like a weapon, believing that she had no choice but to obey or destroy. But she was more than that now. She was human in all the ways that mattered. "They have Captain Tommen," she said. "They will kill him if I do not surrender." "Then we'll save him," Ginwu said simply. "You have power, don't you? Real power." Hannah nodded slowly. "Yes. More power than you can imagine. But if I use it, I might lose control, might become the weapon they made me to be. Or you might become something they never expected," Jinwu said. "A weapon that chooses to protect instead of destroy." As dawn broke over the town, Hannah made her final decision. She would not surrender to her creators, and she would not let them hurt the people she loved. She would use her power to save Taman and drive the Vrex away from Earth. But she knew that once she unleashed her true abilities, there would be no going back. She would have to face the terrible truth of what she was and find a way to remain human in spite of it. The final battle was about to begin, and Hannah would fight it not as Weapon Unit 7, but as herself. The Vrex ultimatum came at dawn. Every screen on Earth displayed the same cold message: "You have 6 hours to deliver Weapon Unit 7 to us. After that, your planet will be cleansed." In the emergency meeting room beneath the capital city, world leaders argued desperately about what to do. Some wanted to fight, others wanted to surrender Hannah to save Earth. The debate grew heated as the deadline approached. "We cannot give them an innocent girl," said President Martinez. "It goes against everything we stand for as human beings." "What about the 7 billion other innocent people on this planet?" replied Prime Minister Chen. "Are we supposed to let them all die for one person?" Admiral Wei studied the tactical reports. "Our weapons cannot penetrate their shields. Our ships cannot match their speed. If we fight, we will lose." Dr. Park sat in her kitchen, holding Hannah's hands across the table. "The government wants to turn you over to them. They think it's the only way to save Earth." Hannah nodded sadly. "Maybe they are right. I should go back to my creators. At least then, no one else will get hurt because of me." "No," said Jinwu, who had refused to leave her side. "There has to be another way." But Hannah could feel Tame's pain growing stronger. The Vrex were torturing him with machines that attacked his mind directly. They were showing him images of Earth being destroyed, making him believe it was his fault for protecting her. "I cannot let him suffer anymore," Hannah said, standing up. "I will go to them." Dr. Park grabbed her arm. "If you go back, they will erase your memories. You will forget everything about being human. You will forget us." "I will forget," Hannah agreed, "but you will live. That is what matters." She walked toward the door, but Jinwu stepped in front of her. "I won't let you do this. There has to be another choice." "What choice?" Hannah asked. "I can surrender and save Earth, or I can stay and watch everyone die. Those are the only options." "What about fighting back?" Jinwu asked. "You have power, don't you? Real power?" Hannah's eyes flashed violet. "Yes, I have power. But if I use it, I might become the monster they made me to be, might destroy everything I am trying to protect." "Or you might save us all," Ginwu said quietly. Before Hannah could answer, military vehicles surrounded Dr. Park's house. Soldiers poured out, led by Colonel Kim Dong-hyen. He had orders to take Hannah to the surrender point. "I'm sorry," Colonel Kim said as his men entered the house. "The World Council has voted. We have to give her to them." Hannah did not resist as the soldiers put restraints on her hands. She had expected this. In their place, she would have made the same choice. The needs of many outweighed the needs of one. But as they led her toward the transport vehicle, something unexpected happened. Jinwu threw himself in front of the soldiers. "You cannot take her," he said. "She is not property. She is a person." "Stand aside, boy," Colonel Kim ordered. "This is bigger than you understand." "No," Ginwu said firmly. "This is exactly what I understand. You are giving up without a fight. You are trading away someone's freedom because you are afraid." More people began gathering around the house. Hannah's classmates, her teachers, neighbors, who had watched her grow and learn over the past year. They had heard about the government's decision, and they were angry. "She goes to our school," shouted Myung. She draws pictures of flowers and helps with homework. She is not a weapon. She saved my cat when it was stuck in a tree, called out Mrs. Lee from down the street. She is a good girl. More voices joined in. People who had barely noticed the quiet foreign student were now defending her right to exist. They formed a human wall between Hannah and the military vehicles. Colonel Kim looked uncomfortable. He had orders, but he also had a conscience. 8 people. Please step aside. We are trying to save the planet. By sacrificing one innocent girl? Asked Dr. Park, stepping forward. What kind of planet are we saving if we abandon our values to do it? Hannah felt tears running down her face. She had never expected humans to risk their lives for her. In all her memories of being created by the Vrex, she had never seen this kind of loyalty and love. Please, she said to the crowd, let them take me. I do not want any of you to be hurt. We are not letting them take you anywhere, Ginwoo said. Taking her hand, we stand together. That was when the Vrex made their move. Unable to wait for the official surrender, they sent down smaller ships to take Hannah by force. The black vessels landed in the town square, and tall gray creatures emerged from them. The Vrex soldiers moved like nightmares, their long limbs carrying weapons that hummed with deadly energy. They pushed through the crowd of humans like they were insects heading straight for Hannah. Weapon Unit 7, said their leader, in a voice like grinding metal, you will come with us now. Hannah felt something breaking inside her as she watched the Vrex soldier strike down Jinwoo with the back of his hand. The boy flew backward and hit the ground hard, blood streaming from his mouth. You hurt him, she whispered, her eyes beginning to glow. He is nothing, the Vrex soldier replied. You are our creation. You belong to us. That was when Hannah snapped. All her careful control, all her efforts to be human, all her fears about becoming a monster disappeared in a wave of pure rage. I belong to no one, she said. And her voice carried power that made the ground shake. The restraints on her hands crumbled to dust. Her eyes blazed with violet fire and energy crackled around her small form. For the first time since her rescue, she stopped hiding what she was. The Vrex soldiers raised their weapons, but they moved too slowly. Hannah gestured with one hand, and their guns twisted into useless metal. She gestured with the other hand, and the soldiers themselves were thrown backward like toys. Impossible, the leader gasped. Your inhibitors should prevent this. You cannot access your full power. I removed the inhibitors myself months ago, Hannah said, floating a few inches off the ground. I chose to stay weak because I wanted to. Be human. But you have shown me that sometimes, to protect the people you love, you must be strong. The Vrex ships in orbit detected the energy surge coming from the planet's surface. Commander Velthak studied the readings with growing alarm. She is awakened, he told his crew. Weapon Unit 7 is accessing her full potential. Should we retreat? Asked his second-in-command. Velthak thought about the resources they had, invested in creating her, about the power she represented. No, we will capture her, but we must be more careful. She is no longer a sleeping weapon. She is awake, and she is angry. On Earth's surface, Hannah stood in the town square surrounded by her friends and neighbors. The Vrex soldiers lay unconscious. Around her, defeated but alive. She had chosen mercy over destruction, even in her rage. Are you all right? She asked Jinwoo, kneeling beside him. He smiled through his bloody lip. I knew you were special. I just did not know you were this special. Hannah helped him stand, then looked up at the Vrex ships hanging in Earth's sky like dark clouds. She could feel her creators calling to her, demanding that she return to them. She also felt the love and support of the humans around her. We'll not go back to them, she announced. And I will not let them hurt Earth. But I need your help. Dr. Park stepped forward. What do you need us to do? Hannah's eyes glowed brighter. I need you to help me remember who I choose to be. When I use my full power, I might forget about love and friendship and all the things that make me human. Promise. Me, you will not let me become a monster. Promise, Jinwoo said, taking her hand again. Hannah looked up at the Vrex ships one more time. Then let us show them what happens when you threaten a human's family. Hannah rose into the sky above Earth like a small star, her simple blue dress flowing around her as energy crackled through the air. Below her, the people of her town watched in amazement and fear. Above her, the massive Rex ships waited like dark predators. She had never used her full power before. For months, she had kept it locked away, afraid of what she might become. But now, with Taemin's life in danger and her human family threatened, she let every barrier fall. The first Vrex ship fired at her with a weapon that could destroy mountains. Hannah caught the energy beam in her hands and threw it back, turning the ship's own power against it. The vessel's shields collapsed, and it began falling toward Earth's atmosphere. Commander Velthak watched from the flagship with growing alarm. How is this possible? She is just one small being. She was designed to be the ultimate weapon, replied Dr. Morden, the scientist who had created her. We made her too well. Hannah moved between the ships like a ghost, her thoughts controlling matter itself. She phased through solid metal hulls, peering inside the vessels to disable their weapons and rescue the human prisoners. The Verk soldiers fired at her, but their energy bolts passed harmlessly through her body. On the second ship, she found Taemin strapped to a torture device that was attacking his mind. His eyes were closed and he was screaming without making a sound. Hannah felt rage build inside her like a nuclear fire. You heard him, she said, to the Vrex scientists gathered around the machine. He is nothing, one of them replied. A lower species? His pain means nothing. Hannah's eyes blazed brighter. She gestured, and every piece of Rex technology in the room crumbled to dust. The aliens themselves were frozen in place, unable to move but unharmed. His pain means everything, she said, carefully freeing Taemin from the broken machine, because he taught me what love is. Taemin opened his eyes and saw her floating there, power radiating from her small form. Hannah, you came for me? You saved me first, she said gently, helping him stand. Now I save you. She teleported him back to Earth's surface, placing him safely in Dr. Park's arms. Then she returned to space to face the remaining ships. But with each display of power, Hannah felt herself changing. The human emotions that had anchored her were being overwhelmed by the vast energy flowing through her. She could feel her personality starting to fragment, replaced by cold calculation and perfect efficiency. She was becoming what the Vrex had designed her to be, a weapon without mercy or doubt. The third ship tried to escape, but Hannah reached out with her mind and stopped it in space. She began to crush it slowly, methodically, the way a weapon would. Inside the ship, Vrex soldiers screamed as their vessel collapsed around them. From Earth's surface, Ginwoo watched through binoculars and saw what was happening. Hannah was winning the battle, but she was losing herself. She's forgetting, he told Dr. Park, just like she said she would. Dr. Park grabbed a military radio. Hannah, can you hear me? In space, Hannah paused in her destruction. A small part of her mind, the part that was still human, heard the familiar voice. I can hear you, she replied, her voice echoing strangely across the communication channel. Remember the flowers, Dr. Park said urgently. Remember why you chose that name. Hannah stopped crushing the Vrex ship. For a moment she remembered sitting in Dr. Park's garden, learning the names of different flowers. She remembered thinking that they were beautiful because they were temporary, like all precious things. I remember, she whispered, Jinwoo took the radio. Remember the art class and drawing pictures of landscapes? Remember helping me young with her math homework? Remember that you wanted to be a teacher? Each memory pulled Hannah back from the edge of becoming a pure weapon. She released the Vrex ship, letting it drift away, damaged but intact. Commander Velthak saw his opportunity. He activated a device that Dr. Morden had prepared as a last resort. A neural override signal designed to take control of Hannah's mind. The signal hit Hannah like a physical blow. She screamed as foreign thoughts invaded her consciousness, trying to overwrite everything she had learned about being human. For a terrible moment, the override worked. Hannah's eyes went blank. She turned toward Earth with the cold efficiency of a perfect weapon. She raised her hand, gathering enough power to crack the planet's surface. Weapon Unit 7, Velthok commanded through the neural link, destroy the human infestation. Complete your original mission. On Earth, people watched in horror as the girl who had been their defender prepared to become their destroyer. Some ran, but others stood their ground. Jin-Woo took the radio again. Hannah, I know you can hear me. You are not Weapon Unit 7. You are Hannah, who chose her name because she loves flowers. You are the girl who cried during sad movies and who draws pictures of sunsets. You are my girlfriend, and I love you. Simple words cut through the neural override like a sword. Hannah's blank expression flickered, and for a moment her violet eyes showed confusion. Fight it, Taman said, taking the radio. You are stronger than their programming. You chose to be human, and no one can take that choice away from you. Dr. Park added her voice. No. You are our daughter. You are part of our family. Come home. To us, one by one, the people of Hannah's town began speaking into radios and phones, their voices carrying up to her through every communication satellite on Earth. Her classmates told her about shared lunches and homework sessions. Her teachers spoke about her artwork and her dreams of helping children learn. Neighbors talked about small kindnesses and quiet moments. The neural override cracked under the weight of so much love and connection. Hannah's human memories fought back against the alien programming, and her personality reasserted itself. I choose, she said, her voice carrying across space to the wrecked ships. I choose to be human. I choose to protect instead of destroy. I choose love over fear. The override device overloaded and exploded, taking part of the Vrex flagship with it. Velthok and his crew found themselves facing a being who was no longer their weapon, but something entirely new. Hannah approached the flagship slowly, her power carefully controlled. She was still wearing her simple blue dress, but now it seemed to glow with inner light. You made me to be a destroyer of worlds, she told them. But the humans taught me to be a protector of life. I am not your weapon anymore, Velthok tried to threaten her. If you do not obey, we will return with a larger fleet. We will destroy this entire system. Hannah smiled, and it was a terrible and beautiful sight. You are welcome to try. But know that Earth is under my protection now. Any who come here with evil intent will face me. She gestured, and the remaining Vrex ships found themselves gently but irresistibly pushed away from Earth. They were not destroyed, but they were banished, sent back into deep space with a clear message. This world was defended. As the alien ships disappeared into the darkness, Hannah slowly descended back to Earth. The power that had made her glow began to fade, but it did not disappear entirely. She had learned to control it, to use it without losing herself. She landed in the town square where Ginwoo and Dr. Park were waiting for her. Taman was there too, supported by medics but smiling despite his injuries. Did I do the right thing? Hannah asked, suddenly seeming very young again. You chose mercy over vengeance, Taman said. You protected innocent life instead of destroying it. I think that was very right. Ginwoo hugged her carefully, still amazed by what she had become. You saved us all. But more than that, you stayed yourself.
Ow.
Dr. Park smiled through her tears. You proved that who you choose to be is more important than what you were made to be. In the months that followed, Hannah returned to her quiet life, but everything had changed. She no longer hid her abilities, though she used them carefully and only when needed. She became Earth's quiet guardian, watching the skies for threats while still attending school and drawing. Pictures of flowers the government offered to make her an official protector with military rank and resources, but she politely declined. She preferred her simple life, helping Jinwoo with his studies and planning for a future where she might actually become the teacher she had always dreamed of being. Sometimes, late at night, she would stand in Dr. Park's garden and reach out. With her mind to touch the stars, she could sense other worlds out there, other civilizations, both good and evil, and she knew that someday some of them might threaten Earth again. But when that day came, they would find a world defended not by weapons of war, but by a girl in a blue dress who had learned that the greatest power in the universe was the choice. To protect those you love, Hannah had been created as a weapon to destroy worlds. But she had become something her makers never imagined, a guardian who chose to be human, and who would never forget the man who pulled her from the fire and showed her what it meant to be free.